Hey guys, welcome back to 31 Days of Halloween. If you don't know what that is and you don't know who I am, then welcome. My name is Pompberry, and this month I'm posting one video a day. That means 31 Halloween tutorials for you guys. It's crazy, I know. But if you already knew all that, well then, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a bloodthirsty vampire for you guys. I wanted to do something that looked kind of creepy, kind of cool, and was a different take than what you'd normally see for a vampire. So if you want to see how I do all of this, then keep on watching. So see these bags under my eyes? See these pimples? See this discoloration? That's all really good. You want that for this look. The more texture and pigmentation on your skin, the better. For primer, I'm going to be using the Milk Makeup Blur Stick. I'm applying this in the areas where I get most oily, just to calm that down a little bit, and that includes my eyelids as well. Then I'm taking a normal latex sponge, and I am tweezing the living shit out of it. This is an easy way of getting a textured sponge. Now I'm going in with the Mehron Clown White Light. I'm dipping my sponge into that and I'm dabbing it on all the high points of my face. Now, I'm not going to be wearing foundation because, as I said, I want all my pigmentation to show through, but I do want to make myself look paler and I want to highlight my bones to really bring them out and make me look, kind of skeleton-like. And if you get too carried away with the white like I did, you can wipe it off and go back in very lightly. I didn't want my face white, I just wanted it to look pale. That's why I ended up taking the excess off. And don't forget your neck if you're not going to be covering that up. Next, I'm going to be using the Ben Nye Ultimate Effects Grease Paint Palette. I'm going to start with the color black and blue with barely any on my sponge, and I'm going to start contouring with it. Now, ideally, you would use a clean sponge for this, but I'm lazy and didn't want to make another one. So I just cleaned off the one I just used on a paper towel and proceeded to use it with a darker color. I'm applying this color everywhere that I would my normal contour. The difference is that this is a bruise color, so it's going to make your face start to look a little bit lifeless, a little bit dead, but you're going to snatch those contours at the same time. It's great. I'm also applying it under and around my eyes to make them look really, really sunken in. Then I'm adding to that contour with the color Dark Burgundy, and also really concentrating it on the outer corners of my eyes. This is almost like a dried blood color, so it's going to continue to give that splotchy, dead skin effect. Now, to get into smaller areas like around my eyes, I like to squeeze the end of the sponge, and that will allow it to fit more comfortably in these smaller areas, like around the eyes and the nostrils. Looking fabulous. You also want to add those dark colors to your neck as well. Then I'm going in with a complete skin tone alcohol activated palettes by Real Creations, and I'm taking the palest shade to intensify my highlights. I'm just spraying the sponge with some alcohol and applying this to my highlighted areas. And the reason I'm using this is because alcohol paints are very translucent, and as I said, I don't want my face to look white, I just want it to look pale. And because of the translucency of this paint, you can get that effect and it looks really natural. It looks very skin-like. I'm also applying this all over my lips to pale those down. You don't want to have nice rosy lips when you're dead. Now here's a neat little trick for if you don't have alcohol activated paints. See how the grease paint is really opaque and the alcohol activated paint is really transparent? Well, you can make your grease paint have a similar effect to the alcohol activated paint by just spraying it with some alcohol. And you can see here, it all of a sudden becomes translucent and you can paint with it as you would with the alcohol paint. So yeah, that's a little trick that I like to use. The only difference is that the grease paint is obviously not going to set the same way that the alcohol paints do. Alcohol paints are completely transfer resistant. The grease paint will still transfer even if you do this trick. Now I'm going back in with that burgundy color on a really, really tiny brush, and I'm diluting it with alcohol, and I'm starting to draw in some veins. Be careful when you're using alcohol around your eyes though. You want to make sure that your eyes are closed until the alcohol evaporates so that it doesn't burn. And for this, I recommend looking at pictures of real veins so that you can try to replicate the patterns. Basically, you just want a bunch of squiggly lines that kind of connect to each other. That's the thing with veins, they're all kind of connected. And you also want to vary the intensity and thickness of them. That will make them look a lot more natural. Concentrate the smaller ones around areas like the nose. That's where you get your capillary veins that are really, really tiny. And you'll get bigger ones in areas like your neck and your jawline. And you want to do these all over, concentrating them mostly on the areas that you contoured and making them more intense where the skin is thinner on your face, so basically around your eyes. You can see here that I'm making the color a lot more intense around this area because since the skin is thinner, it makes the veins obviously more apparent. Once I've drawn in all the tiny little veins, I'm going in with more product kind of soaked in a little bit more alcohol, so it's a little bit more liquidy, and I'm making bigger and thicker veins, especially around the perimeter of my face. Here's the before all the veins, and after. It's so veiny. Now with this light blue color, I'm going over certain veins and creating new ones. And the reason I'm going over some of the veins is because mixing this blue with the red, it's going to create a really nice purple tone that will just give a really cool intensity to the veins. But I'm also drawing brand new blue veins as well to give it a bit more dimension, and it makes it look a little bit more interesting and realistic when you have a variation in tones. And again, I'm just doing this everywhere and intensifying the bigger veins and creating really tiny ones around my eyes. I didn't really make any blue ones around my nose though, because that's where really all the capillaries are, and those are the really red veins. So I just kind of concentrated this on the other areas of my face and added a whole bunch around my mouth. The mouth area isn't necessarily realistic, but it makes for a really cool effect. Then going back in with black and blue, I'm going to intensify those veins around my mouth. And as I said, this isn't really realistic. People's mouths wouldn't look like this, but it gives a really cool effect. And since this is a monster makeup, we don't have to be too realistic about it. I wanted to make these really dark veins sprouting from the mouth area because it pulls the focus to the mouth. And since this is a thirsty, almost dying vampire, I wanted the mouth to be the focal point and to show that that's the area where the affliction is coming from in a way. It's because the vampire hasn't had anything to eat in a really long time. So that was my logic behind it. I just wanted to give the focus to the lips. Then to tone that down a tiny smidge, I went back over it with the pale alcohol activated paint and then redid a few of the veins. Then with a color called Dried Blood, I went in and intensified some veins around the mouth. I thought they were looking a little too blue, so I went in with that color just to correct that tone a little bit. I also added that color around my eyes and my nose. Now I'm going in with Capillary Stipple and Dark Burgundy around my lash line and lids. And I'm starting off with the Capillary Stipple, it's just a lighter pink, and then going in with the Dark Burgundy to intensify that color really close to the lash line and in the inner corner of the eyes. I find that when you add color to the inner corners of the eyes, it makes the eyes look really infected, so this is a cool little trick. I'm also adding some of that dark burgundy to the lips as well. I wanted to add a little bit of color to the lips to help pull that focus back to them, and also to make them look a little bit more unhealthy. This color definitely does not make them look healthy. I also added that color around my nose and kind of patted it around my eyes just to give a bit more texture and dimension. Now I'm just quickly drawing some veins around my neck and adding some more of that burgundy color to my lids in a really patchy fashion. You want it to look kind of like blood clotting on the lids. Then going in with the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the color Full Red, I'm lining my waterline. And this is a great detail that will really make the eyes look really gross. Then going in with the Lunatic Cosmetics Contour Palette Volume 1, I'm taking this darker shade and contouring a bit. I really wanted my cheekbones to stand out because I wanted it to look very thin and sickly, so I'm carefully patting that color on so as to not disturb anything that I did underneath. I'm also taking that color on a smaller fluffy brush and applying it around my eyes to make them look sunken in. Then I'm taking that pale alcohol color and applying it to my lids. Then going in with this pale yellow called Highlight Tone, I'm applying it to the highest points of my face to really make them stand out, and because it's got a slightly yellow tone to it, it will really contribute to that highlighting effect. Now I just put on my outfit, wig, and fangs, and you can stop here and just be a very thirsty, almost dead vampire, or you can go in and add mouth blood. If you want to learn how I made this mouth blood, I'm going to link it up here and in the description box below. It's super easy to make and tastes like candy. I'm just applying it to my gums and really coating my teeth. And my idea behind this look was that the vampire was almost dying, but it managed to find something to eat, and so this is kind of like the blood that saved it from the brink of death. So the vampire still looks like it's dying, but it's got blood because it just ate and now it can live. Or, I mean, I don't know if you can technically call that living, but you know what I mean. And that's it, but feel free to put as much or as little blood as you want, and that's the look done. The fun thing about this look is that you can take the base of what I did and turn it into essentially any other undead monster. This vampire, as you can see, isn't in the best shape, but I thought it would be a fun take on a classic monster. Vampires have been reimagined time and time again, so it's hard to come up with a new take, because there's so many of them. But I want to know which version's your favorite. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!